Pi there. Express the square root of 5 plus 2 square root of 6 in terms of square root of a plus square root of b for some integers a and b. So before we solve this, you may pause the video for a while so that you may try this first on your own. Okay, good. So let's start. To solve this, we first recall the square of a binomial. That is, given a binomial a plus b, so we consider the positive case out here or the sum case first, or not first, but only this case since this is what we need only. If we take its square, this is equal to the square of the first term plus 2 times the first and the last term plus the square of the last term. So take note of that, and let's apply this to square root of a plus square root of b. Let's take its square. So in taking the square of this one, we'll have the square of the first term, square root of a squared, plus 2 times the square of the first and the last term, or the square root of the first, square root of a times square root of b, plus the square of the last term, which is square root of b squared. Take note that these two just simplifies to a and b, since the square of a square root will just cancel out. And then for this middle term, take note that in radicals, if we have two radicals out here, what we do, since they have the same index, we just multiply the expressions inside. So we'll have 2 square root of ab. So take note of that, and let's rearrange some terms. So if we group a and b out here, we'll have the group a plus b plus 2 times the square root of a. So take note of this one. And now, what happens when we take the square root of this one? So we know that if we take the square root out here, we'll be left with square root of a plus square root of b. And given this equation out here, so we took the square root out here. So taking the square root out here, we know that square root of a plus square root of b is equal to the square root of the sum of a and b plus 2 times the square root of the product of a and b. And we denote this as equation star. Now from here, observe that this here is the, again, sum of a and b out here. On the other hand, the ab out here refers to the product of a and b out here. So take note of that one, as we will use this idea and concept out here in terms of writing this one in the form square root of a plus square root of b. So take note of this equation star, and let's apply it to our given. So if we have the given square root of 5 plus 2 square root of 6, observe that 5 out here can be written as 2 plus 3, while 6 here can be written as 2 times 3. Observe that these two, 2 plus 3 is the sum of 2 and 3, while 2 times 3 is the product of 2 and 3. The sum of 2 and 3 and the product of 2 and 3. This means that if we apply the equation star, since observe that this matches, this out here matches this form out here, but with a and b this time to be 2 and 3. So applying the equation star, this will simplify to the square root of 2 plus the square root of 3. And observe that the expressions inside the radical are integers. And so this is what we want, since we have found, or we have converted the given in terms of square root of a plus square root of b, wherein a and b are integers. And so we can conclude that this here is the answer to our problem. As simple as that. So did you got that one correctly? Well, I hope you did. The key is applying the square of a binomial in the square root of a plus square root of b, and observing this equation out here, the equation star. Take note that this also applies to other problems of this form, so you may search for that one. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot from this one. Feel free to comment down below if you have any suggestions, recommendations, or alternative solutions to this kind of problem out here. So yeah, that's it, and that's all for this how to solve video.